Hey everybody, it's Eric with VicBaggers.com, and I just wanted to kind of give you guys a brief overview of our Indian air ride for all Indian 111 cubic inch bikes from 2014 to present. We've developed this suspension system here in-house, has fluid dampening for the rear. It's all manufactured here in the U.S. at our facility in Francisco, Indiana. So just kind of want to give you guys a brief overview with what comes with the kit and kind of go over some of the wiring with diagram and install. We'll have a few other videos with specific install instructions, but this is going to be kind of a basic overview with the wiring and what comes with the kit. So when you purchase the kit from us, it obviously comes with a compressor, VicBaggers 275C. The kit also comes with links for the suspension. If you order rear only, it comes with the shock with the fluid dampened additional shock on there for rebound control. If you order the front, you'll get a pair of front cartridges that are insert replacement cartridges. And we've also got our valve body relay with bracket assembly that comes with the kit that makes it easy for mounting. You're not trying to figure out where to mount everything, and it puts it out of the way, and it's nice and hidden and makes for a really nice clean install. You also have over here is a little bag of goodies for additional hardware install. So now I kind of want to show you a little bit about how to wire some of this up. As you can see on the back of the unit, it does have a couple bolts here. These bolts will be used for grounding points. You'll be able to ground your valve assembly as well as the compressor to these 2 points here. And then of course we got our relays will also need to be grounded in addition to the compressor. So I've kind of drawn up a little diagram over here to kind of show you what the relay looks like. And so you can't really see it in the video, but each one of these prongs have numbers on them. And we've made a diagram here kind of for you to show you what the diagram and where everything goes. So compressor would come to 87, which would be this top piece here. 85 is a ground, which you can run from here up to the grounding point that we've indicated. Number 30 will be the battery. So if you're running a front and rear setup, you can either run a jumper or 2 separate lines from the battery to each one of the prongs as numbered and indicated here on the diagram that we've come up with. Now let's talk about number 86 has toggle switch and fill valve. So on this assembly that we've got here, we've made up our fill, what we would call our fill valves are the 2 middle valves, and the 2 outside valves are what we consider to be our dump valves, which lets the air out of the unit. The inner valves will kick the compressor on and create lift and supplying air to your either rear shock or your front cartridges. Obviously, if you're only running a rear assembly, you will not have this amount of valves on here or relays. That will be reduced. So right now we're going to go through the entire process for front and rear with the wiring setup. So what you'll want to do is I've kind of got one of these already kind of set up here on the bench, and I can kind of show you. So we've got our compressor grounded. Now when this bracket is bolted to the bike, the actual bolts that go into the subframe create a ground to the chassis of the motorcycle. So you can see on the compressor side, we've jumped from one relay to the next. We've also got a fuse link for the battery. So we've got our other red line here on the bottom relays. We're actually running a fused link that will be able to hook up to the battery, and you want to run fuse on these. So this is going to be up to the installer to do some of this wiring and install and pick up some of the little connectors and things like that. So that's going to be up to the builder. But basically you can run a jumper from the battery for these. You all see another fuse block here because of the toggle switches need to have power supplied to them. Now a person could run one fuse block and run power to the relays and to the switches. I chose to do 2 separate fuse blocks. That way if there would ever be an issue, I would be able to indicate which one was shorting out or something like that if it ever happened. So obviously one side is going to be up and one side is going to be down. So the dump valves do not get powered through the relay. So one side of the switch will come into the dump side of the valve assembly. So basically one side grounded and one side to the dump side of the toggle switch. And since we got front and rear, we've got basically got one side coming to the up and one side coming to the down. So this is up again, middle ones are up, supply, outsides are down, which we consider to be dump. Now, on the toggle switch side that's coming into the relay, there's also going to have to be a jumper from the relay to the valve. So when you see a setup that's already done with relay to switch, like let's just take this toggle switch for instance. If we were to hit up on one of these, see, this is actually wired from the switch into this, and it's also powered in to the relay. So they're connected together. A person could run a jumper like I've actually done on this one. I've jumped this one a little differently from the inner valve to the relay, also to the toggle switch. So we'll kind of go over here to the bike and kind of show you a little bit here in a second, but I also wanted to discuss on our rear shock. On 14 models don't have this, so we'll have to come up with a pivot point for you. Most of the shocks have this little bushing in here. So prior to installing, we'll go over this a little more in one of the other videos, but you need to use this bushing in the shock that we supply, and that gets inserted in here. You may have to tap it just a little bit. This is a pre-impregnated bushing on here for the pivot point, and you'll need to put that in to that piece there. And again, you may need to tap that just a little bit, but you'll need to save that off of your shock to reuse that. So let's kind of go over to the bike and I can kind of show you how things are somewhat wired up here. And you can see, so right now currently we're running our compressors underneath of the fender, and we're hose clamping that. It is good and rigid. You can push on it and it doesn't go anywhere. This is where the bracket is located. You'll have to zip tie the wires up and out of the way. Now this is just mocked up at this point, and everything is not secure. Once we get kind of the fender down here, we'll be able to see what contact points we need to make sure that we got zip tied up and out of the way. So I've got the compressor routed up to the middle, which is our fill, so that's supply. And then right now I've got my rear shock from the back valve assembly here, and then when I get my front cartridges in, I'll run line up to the front assembly. So I've already got the shock installed here. I do have my rebound control knob up in here, and then I've also got my panel for my switches, which are located here. There's one 10mm head bolt that it holds the fuse panel piece in here, and there's a hole up inside, and that is for the mounting of the toggle switch. We do have the shock itself has a fitting that comes into the side of it. That air line is looped up and around and underneath, and we zip tie that along this frame rail back to the bracket area. So, and at this point the back is somewhat plumbed up. Again, it's not secured how we're going to finalize it, but I kind of wanted to give you guys a brief overview. It does lift, it does dump, and the front will be the same type method. And then again, we'll finish up wiring everything up. These kits are available at VicBaggers.com. We supply to several dealers. You know, you might check with your local dealership to see if they're a VicBaggers.com dealer. We have a lot of suspension components, a lot of other accessories, including rake kits that we manufacture in-house for 26 and larger size wheels for the Indian bikes. Please stay tuned on our YouTube channel. We're going to be doing other install videos for the lowering link install, which is part of the process for the air ride, as well as shock install, and some of these other pieces will be a little more descriptive. We just kind of wanted to give a brief overview today of some of the wiring and how things are mounted specifically. So stay tuned and check out our website, VicBaggers.com. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you.